In this video, we'll be seeing how to create a simple URL shortener in Laravel. First of all, we can create a new Laravel project. For that, you can open the directory and let's open command prompt from here. And inside this, we can run the command Laravel new and the project name. Let's select none here, 0, no, and this will create the Laravel project for you. Now select MySQL here and hit enter. Now we have to run the migrations. In order to run the migrations, you have to have MySQL. So make sure that you are having MySQL running. I'm using SAM for this. So make sure you are having MySQL properly running. Then we can come here and type yes and do the migrations. You can see it is creating a new database named URL Shortener and it has migrated some of the default migrations. Now our Laravel project will be completely created now. Now the project is completely created. I have opened this project inside IDE. I'm using PHP Storm. You can use any IDE. You can use VS Code or anything of your preference. Let's create a migration first of all. So we can open the terminal and make sure that you are on the correct project directory. And you can run the command php artisan make migration and give the name of the migration. Now we have created a migration with the name URLs. This is the file name that we'll be having. So let's go to the migrations inside the database folder. You can see migrations and open the migration that we created. And inside this, we can create a table. So schema, you can create the table named URLs. We need an ID, which is a primary key. Then we can set a URL. So let's set original URL here. We can set a column, original URL. And then we need a short URL. So you can name it like short code because we will be storing the short code instead of the entire URL. And then we can, we need the timestamps. Okay, that is required for created at and the updated at. Before that, we need to set a count for the number of visitors. So let's do that as well. Table, you can keep it a string. So visits and that's it. You can also set a default value for this and set it as 0 and that's it. So the default value for this visits will be 0 and give a semicolon here. Now you can come to the down function and schema, drop if exists and the URL. That is the table name. Now we need to create a migration for this one. So let's open the terminal and let's create a model, not the migration. It's a model. So model and make the U capital URL. So we are having the model named URL here. You can see that here. Open this one. You can specify a $table equals URLs. Give a semicolon and close the URL. And now we can create a controller to handle our things. So let's open the terminal and let's create a controller. Make controller. And give the name of the controller URL manager. Now we are having the controller as well. Let's go to the HTTP controller and open the controller. And here we can create a function and name it create short URL. Okay, we need to accept a request. Okay, and you can make sure that the use statement is properly added here. Then we have to validate. So request, validate. And set URL as required. So this will be original URL underscore URL and we are setting it as required. Now we can check if the URL actually exists already. So for that $URL equals, we can fetch it from the table using the model URL and make sure that you are using this model. Otherwise you'll get error. So you can see on the top use statement is added here and that is the model class. Okay, now you can use var statement here, var condition and you can set original URL and you can specify the URL that we are passing $request of original URL and you can fetch the first item. So use first here. Now we can check if the value is there or not. If not URL, that means we have to create a URL. So for that, we can create a function first of all to generate the shortcode. So you can do that in the model. So let's come to the URL model here, and let's create a static function. So you can come here. Okay, you can come here, and here we can make public static function generate shortcode. So this is the name of the function, and in this function we can simply return a shortcode, a unique kind of shortcode. So return, we can use this one, it is fine, and you can make the length something shorter if you need. Okay, and that's it. Now we can go back to the controller, and you can call this function. For that, first of all, you have to get it to a variable. So let's do shortcode equals, you can use URL, the model, and you can call the generate shortcode. Now we need to add this to the table. For that, you can call $URL equals new, and you can use URL, the model, and then we can assign the values. So $URL of original URL, you can copy this one and add it here, and equals $request of original URL. And then you can also add $URL of shortcode equals, you can specify the shortcode that we just generated. Okay, so this should be matching with what we have given here. Okay, that is matching. Okay, and then you can simply call save. So $URL of save. You can add this in an if condition and check if it is properly working. If it got successful, then you can return a success message and all. And right now we can keep it like this, and return you can respond of JSON, and inside that we can simply return URL, short URL. So short URL, and you can specify the URL. So that will be our home URL. You can use URL helper and then just add the path. Then you can just add dot, then the short code. So it will be like this, and this will return the URL. So let's see, we can try this one. Okay. So right now this create URL function is completed. Now we need a function to redirect the URL. So let's come here and create a function, name it like redirect to original URL. Okay, that is fine. And inside this function we can simply get the URL based on the shortcode. So let's URL equals URL, that is the model, and where you can specify the shortcode, give a comma, and the code that we will be receiving. Okay, so let's change this request to code here. We will be passing it. I will show you from the route section how we will be passing it, and you can call first here because this one should be unique. Okay, so this one should be unique. So let's go to the migrations and set this one as a unique value. Otherwise you will get errors. Okay, so set this as a unique value. That is important. And that's it. Now here we can increment the visits. Okay, so whenever a person is visiting, we can increment it. So you can set this as okay, I think we haven't run the migrations yet, so you can change it right now. So you can set this to unsigned begin. So unsigned integer or some big int, that is also working. So you can set that, and we could simply increment this value. So let's just come here and $URL of increment. Okay, increment of visit or visits. Let's check that. Okay, come here and it is visits. Okay, so increment visits. Okay, and then you can simply redirect the user to the original URL. So return redirect and to the original URL. That's all. So this will do the count of the visits and simply redirect the users to the original URL. And in case, you can also add an exception. In case this fails, you can show that doesn't exist or something like that. Okay, page not exist, some error like that. Okay, so you can come here. If not URL, you can simply abort it, abort 404. That's fine. Okay, so in case there is nothing with this shortcode available in the table, that means there is no URL. So we are simply going to abort it. Now we have to add the routes for this. So let's go to the route section here in the web.php. We can open this and let's come here and let's create a route and post. And this should be like short URL, short hyphen URL. Okay, give a comma and you can pass the controllers. So a controller name was URL manager and class, give a comma, and the function name was create short URL. Okay, so use that. Okay, now you can also give a name for this route. So simply add a name, URL. Okay, sorry, URL dot short. So that is the name that we are giving this route. Now we need one more route. That should be a get route. So we can redirect the users to that specific URL, original URL from the short URL. So route get, okay, get and okay. We can just change this to, let's change this to code. This is the short code that will be passing. And the function is like, let's see, redirect to original URL. Okay, now you can give a name and you can keep it something like URL dot redirect or URL dot original, whatever it is. Okay, redirect is much better. And okay, that is it. Now if you need to see all the stats, like how many visits this shortcode got or that specific URL got, since we are not having a login and all, you can create a route for that as well. So route, you can specify like okay, let me just add it. Okay, route, you can add get, you can name it like let's see, stats slash, then you can specify the code. So code, then let's add the function here itself, or you can add it inside. Okay, let's add it inside the controller itself. That is much better. Okay, so let's come here, add the controller, that is URL manager, and you can create a function stats. Okay, and you can give a name, that is URL.stats. Okay, now we need to create the stats function as well. Come inside this and at the bottom, function stats, and we need to receive the code. So $code, and here we can simply fetch the details just like this one. Okay, just abort and all those things, you can paste it here. And then we need to simply return all this value. So return, you can either just return the visits, or you can return all the data. So let's return all the data, response JSON of visits. Okay, that is fine. Then we are having original URL. So it is original URL. Okay, that will be not this one. We need only this one. Original URL should be like this. Okay, give a comma here. And that is it. Okay, then one more thing, that is the short code. So the short code will be short. We could return short URL. Okay, not short code. That, I think that will be much better. Short URL. And okay, here we needed that thing. Okay, where is it? We can just copy it from here. Okay, you can copy this one from here. Okay, this much from here. Okay, and we can paste that here. Okay, so this will be the short URL. Okay, so this is the home page and the slash and then the short code. That's all. I'll give a semicolon here. Now all we need is a UI for all these. Okay, so all the code is complete. Now we need just to create a UI. So first of all, we can run the migrations, and I will quickly create a UI. I will not be showing you how to create the UI and all. It is not that important, but I will show you the code, so you can just post the video and type it if you want to use the same UI that I'm using. So first we can run the migrations. So open the terminal, PHP artisan migrate and hit enter. Sorry, we made a typo. Migrate and hit enter. Now we migrated the table URLs. So you need to have MySQL running properly. Okay, otherwise you will get errors. Okay, and Now I will just quickly create a UI. So I'll be doing that in the welcome blade itself. We don't need any other UI. So let's do that here itself. Okay. So I have quickly added this UI to the welcome.blade.php. You can see that here. So I'm using a bootstrap and simply added few classes and that designed this one. You can see that we are having this input tag. This is the form that we are using. This is the important part. You can post this video and you can type this in if you want to follow along with this video. So this is a very simple form that we have created. So type this in. You can post the video and you can simply type this in. Okay. Hope it was visible. Okay. I will explain. So here we are having a form and this ID is important because we are handling this in the JavaScript part. Okay. And we need this input tag. Okay. This input tag has the name, that is original URL. You can set the placeholder and that's up to you. Okay. ID is also important. You have to set the ID as well. We are handling it in the JavaScript part. Submit button as well. Now on submitting, we are going to capture it here and prevent the default submission. And you can see we are having the script tag here. This is the bootstrap script tag. You can simply add bootstrap here. That's all. Okay. So our main script starts here. And we are capturing the submit, add a listener for submit, and we are preventing the default submit. And then we are actually setting this value, or this part, we are simply getting the value from that input tag and getting into a variable. Then we are going to pass it to the route that we just created. So this is the post route that we created here, this route. Okay. So we are going to pass the value to that route. You can see the method is post. In the headers, we have to pass CSRF token. It is very important. Everything else is not required. You can avoid that. That is fine. This is very important. Okay, you have to pass the CSRF token. Otherwise, you will get error. So we are. This is the Laravel part because a Laravel checks for this CSRF token whenever you make a request through the forms. So that is important. Now the next thing is we are passing the body and that is having this original URL. Okay, nothing else. Then on the response, we are receiving this to JSON and then we are just using this. Then here we are fetching the short URL. Okay, you can see if you go to this function and you can see this is our response. The short URL, this one, that is what we are getting here. Data dot short URL. Okay. So okay, where is it? Okay, so this name that you are passing here is the exact thing that we are using here. Okay, then we are setting that to the href here. You can see in this div, we are having a link here and by default, it is set to display none. Okay, we will be changing the display of this one after we receive a response from this fetch function. Okay. So you can see we are setting this display to block here. Style display equal to block. Removing that none from there. So this div will be visible then. And you can see title, shortened URL. And then we are simply showing that URL here. That's all. Nothing else. Then we are setting the URL and then simply setting that text. That is the URL. Nothing else. Okay. Then in case of some errors, we are simply going to console it. So this is the code. You can simply post the video and you can type this in. So it is a very simple UI. Now we can simply try running this one and see how it looks like. Open the terminal and run the command php artisan set. Now you can click on this link. So here you can see this is the UI and let's try entering some values here. Okay, we can give this URL and click on this shorten URL. Now you can see we got the short URL here. Okay, so you have to get a short domain. So right now we are not having any domain. This is the localhost IP and / you can see this is the short code that we just generated. Now we can try opening this URL. Simply click on this URL and you can see that we are taken to the URL, original URL. Okay, so this is the short code generation. And if you try to shorten this URL again, you can see that is not getting worked because this URL already exists in our system. You can come to this URL manager controller and in the create short URL, you can see that we are setting that option here. Okay, so if you want people to able to be generating short URLs, multiple times for the same URL, you can simply remove this one and that will happen. Okay, so right now we just remove that if condition. Now we can just refresh this page and let's try shortening the same URL, and you can see the same URL got shortened again. Okay, you can see it is working as well. Okay, so when you come to this table, you can open phpMyAdmin. You need to have SAMP running with MySQL and Apache running. Then you can open this one and you can see in the table, we are having the same URL twice and with the short. Hope you understand this. Now, if you want to see the stats of that specific URL, let's say this URL, how many people visited this URL, you can just use the shortcode. Okay, the shortcode is important. And then our URL was like /stats. Let's check the URL. Let's check that first. You can go to the web.php and you can see that we made a typo. So let's correct it. It's stats. Okay, not starts, stats. Okay, so you can type stats and / you can give the shortcode. Okay, and hit enter. Now you can see it is printing it in JSON format because we haven't given a UI for this. You can create a UI for this. I'm not going to create the UI right now. So you can see this is working. Okay, let's try accessing this shortcode once more. So this should be visit number 2. Let's refresh this page. You can see, let's specify it. Okay, you can see the visit is 2 here. So if you try to access this URL again, you can see it will get incremented again. Let's specify. Okay, you can see it is getting 3 here. So now this visits, you can control it. Maybe like you can check if the user is visiting from the same IP address or the visitor is using same Chrome, and you can use all those things and you can determine this visit. So you can like maybe like you can just check if the same user is visiting and you can get a unique count. Right now, whenever someone just loads this or reloads this URL, that will get incremented. Okay, you can avoid it by using IP or something. You can check if this user is checking this from the same IP, then you don't have to increment it again. Okay, so you can do such things, but we are going to keep this simple. So you can see it is getting incremented as well. So this is a very short video now how to create a URL shortener. Hope you understand. If you have any doubt, you can leave a comment below and I will respond to them. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel for more such videos.